Hey yo, what's up? It's the RZA from the almighty Wu-Tang Clan. And you're watching Montreality. Montreality, kid.
My seeds grow with his seeds, marry his seeds. My seeds grow with his seeds, marry his seeds. That's how we
What kind of student was I in the classroom? Different years, different kinds, but I definitely was a student who listened and learned. You know, when I got to high school, I actually was a guy that played a lot of hooky. I would leave the school, go watch kung fu movies and everything. But the trick that nobody knew though was that I always studied on my own. And so I would come to school maybe on Fridays to take the test, and I would get 90s. And all the other students were like, "Ah, you get a 90, he wasn't even in class all week." I have a great memory. And second, I just made sure that I can't learn in a classroom environment, but I still love to learn. So I would read the math book by myself, or read the English book by myself, or write stories, you know. So I think I was a good student, just didn't really adapt to the classroom environment. Oh man, I had my first job at the age of 11, selling newspapers on the Verrazano Bridge. And I had to stand out there in traffic with newspapers and we'd sell it. And I make about $10 or $12 a day. At the end of the week, I have 60, 70 bucks. That was enough to buy me a pair of Pumas, a pair of Lees, and help my mother out, you know what I mean? When I was 13, I had a job as a fruit peddler. Me and ODB would get up early in the morning and we would go and unload apples and oranges and peaches and put them into a fruit stand down in downtown Brooklyn, and we'd stand there and we'd sell it all day, or give out flyers. We made about 85 bucks a week, but that was enough, like I said, at the end, to go buy our own pants and our own sneakers. When I became 15, I got summer youth jobs, you know, where I would just be the guy that would go in the parks and clean up the parks. I worked for Park and Recreation, just cleaning up the parks or cleaning up the pools or being a pool night watchman. I even had a job as a messenger, you know, just delivering messages in Manhattan, you know, hoping that one day I could become a mailroom clerk because they got to wear a shirt. But I was a messenger. One of my worst jobs I can remember was a job working inside of a factory where all I did was put screws and nuts in a box. A monkey could do this. And you gotta stand up all day, 8 hours a day. And I had to always do the garbage because I was the youngest guy there. And I would take 50 screws, put them in the box, count them, put them in, and do that all day. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is that this job was right next to a pepper factory. So I'm sneezing all day too. And I made about 150 bucks a week at that job. But regardless, it was enough for me to buy my own shirt and to take care of myself. So working has never been a problem. I suggest all men should work. The Bible says man should work from the sweat of his brow. I now tell my sons, who don't have to really work because we have a better life, that they have to exercise every day as if they're working. Because when you work all day, at the end of the day, the food tastes better, the water is more refreshing because your body now deserves it. I think my first big paycheck was spent on buying more equipment to make more music. While some guys could have went and bought a chain, a car, or whatever they desired, I always put my money back into what made me money, and that was my talent and my music and my equipment. Just had a lyric that says, Bobby said, fuck spending 50 on a whip. He'd rather buy equipment. He had 50 beats stored on one chip. And he was right. Even to this day, every project I do, I buy myself a guitar or a beat machine or some kind of program that's gonna help increase and better myself for the next job. Well, my favorite cartoon character, that's a good question. One of my favorite superheroes of all time is the Silver Surfer and Galactus. These two guys. The reason why I chose these two guys, Galactus is the one who created the Silver Surfer. He made him his student or his herald who would go out and search for planets for him to devour. I always loved Galactus because he had this godlike quality and he understood the power of his leadership. he was the kind of character that sometimes would have to come to other worlds and destroy them so that he could live on. But his life was important to the universe, and at that time his life became more important than the entire world he would destroy. But then he had made a Silver Surfer, and I love the Silver Surfer because of his cosmic power, and he's surfing through the universe. I could go on and on, but he was one of my favorite superheroes for years, was Silver Surfer. As a youngin', one of the favorite video games, I guess, Ozzy was a video game fanatic. But Mario Brothers is always cool. But you'll find me playing most of the fighting games, you know. When Tekken came out, and I'll forget when Tekken first came to the arcade, me and Method Man both went to the arcade one night, and we stayed till the crack of dawn playing Tekken. And then we went to the arcade owner and said we want to buy it for our house. You know what I mean? We had money, you know what I mean? It was like $5,000. And we tried to buy it, but it was hard to get one because it was such a popular game. But Tekken was one of my favorite video games as well. I think symbolically in the previous lifetime, I was a king. Somebody who rules wisely and justly and really guides his people. A real king, not these kings we read about who rob the people and tyrants. A true king is a king who is put there as a leader of his people to lead them through generations of growth, prosperity, spirituality. Think of the old kings of Egypt who was able for dynasties to build their countries and to grow them to whereas they became not just the most powerful country on earth, but the country with the most knowledge and wisdom. And because they secured this position of obtaining and preserving knowledge and wisdom, they later was able to teach other kingdoms. So the Greeks were able to come over and learn from them and build their civilization, and the Romans were able to come and learn and build their civilization. And even America, when we look at our American dollar, we look on the back of it, it has a seal of America and a pyramid from Egypt, because the wisdom and the strength of those great kingdoms ruled by those great kings lives for eternity, you know what I mean? So maybe I feel like I was that in one of my past lives. I wasn't really secure because at the time that I was scheduled to release it, I wasn't living up to the words that I was inspired to write. And I live more of those words now, but still not fully, you know. Maybe I'm about 70% living like that. I still kind of like to go party and have my drinks, and I'm still tempted by women and things like that. I don't, you know, I'm not really dealing with a lot of infidelity like I was in the old days. I don't do a lot of drugs like I used to do, but I still get my little weekend parties on. And not saying that we shouldn't party, because life should be enjoyed, but sometimes the cure that I wanted for that I was writing about was where you could have heaven every moment of your life in yourself. And maybe I will release that album. Maybe it'll be a book. Maybe somebody will find it and discover it, and maybe another artist will record it for me. But I wrote a lot of positive lyrics, and I strive my best to be as positive example as I can for humanity, because I want to be somebody that helps humanity, not somebody who hurt us. There's too much I could say. I would say the song Family Reunion was a song we recorded in my old studio, the same studio we recorded Wu-Tang Forever, which was the Wu-Tang Mansion in South Jersey, which I still own, and I recently remodeled it and rebuilt the studio, and I invited the brothers to come back to this place where we have such great memories, and we recorded that song Family Reunion. And to me, it's time for a family reunion, not only of just us as the Wu-Tang Clan, but all our fans and even people around the world. You know, don't ever forget your family, yo. The album title right now, the broken title, is called A Better Tomorrow, and that's because we strive and have a better tomorrow. You know, we had some good times and we had some bad times, but if tomorrow could be better than today, then it's worth reaching for. And so we're striving for a better tomorrow, not just for ourselves, but for all the fans and all the people out there. You know what I mean? You know, it's a lot of people struggling right now, yo, especially in my community. You know, we put a lot of hope in the politicians and everybody will come and save us, but it hasn't really happened. And so we gotta work to make a better tomorrow for ourselves. Man, you know, the first law of nature is self-preservation. And you must learn to save and preserve yourself. And so I'm working on that musically. And if things go right, you know, it's hard to get a Wu-Tang album because we all have such big careers and big families that we have to maintain of our own, you know, to bring that energy back is not so easy. But it's looking real promising. Method Man did a lot of verses already. Ghost is writing some verses. U-God came over just a few days last week and took some music to write his verses. Master Killer's been very on point with his verses. Inspector Deck, myself. So if things go right and we finish this album, you know, I think that we'll try to put it out in November to celebrate the 20th anniversary of 36 Chambers. That's my goal. First of all, I want to say ODB was a scientist. Many people look at him as a crazy artist, and he was a crazy artist. He had a lot of fun and made a lot of good music, and he loved to entertain the people. But he also was a scientist and a man with a good heart. I mean, he risked his life to help people, to save people. And one of my most joyous moments of him, though, is really just after the second time he got shot, and he got hit with a big gun, man. And he went to the hospital, and they had to staple his whole body up. Not stitches, he had staples, like Frankenstein body. You know what I mean? But he couldn't stay in the hospital. He wanted to leave, so he jumps out the hospital window and flees. And he calls me, and I pick him up. And I came to Brooklyn with a van. At the time I had the Black Knights with me, and I had 2 vans. And he got in the van with me, and I was like, yo, what you wanna do, cuz? He said, I just wanna just drive. And we just drove from New York all the way down to Virginia Beach, and we just played old soul music and sung together. And me and him sat, it was a custom van with the back, you know, like the back couch sofa thing. And we sat beside each other for hours, just singing, fell asleep on each other, got up, sung more. It just was a real joyous moment for me, you know, to be able to help my cousin and to see how much love he had in him that the world was trying to snuff out, but they couldn't. You know what I mean? Unique A-Son Unique. He was a son that was very unique. There's gonna be a Rock the Bells, they're talking about having an ODB hologram. I'm not involved with it on the business side. That's something that the companies are doing. I guess they're working it out with his family and working it out with the Wu-Tang management. But I heard the technology is good. I saw the Tupac hologram myself at Coachella. It was real cool to see that. And if they do it half as good as that, it'd be fun for the audience to come and see that and to enjoy. You know, we're never going to enjoy ODB physically again, okay? Unless we're going to enjoy it through his son, who looks just like him, or you know, you're going to have to enjoy it through the music you got of his CDs or the DVDs of his footage, of his videos, and that's it. But now with a hologram, a paying concert audience could come and at least get a taste of some kind of enjoyment of ODB in a physical form, you know, something you can't touch but you could kind of see. So I think it's cool. The Suburban is somewhere in one of my houses parked. The suit, one of my engineers turned out to be a crackhead. Would you believe that? And he sold my suit to a drug dealer. So there's some drug dealer out there in the world with the Bobby Digital suit. AK bulletproof, all that. But anyway, I just want to say, you know what I'm thinking about doing? I'm going to say this to y'all. I never said it. There's a Bobby Digital movie, an amateur film that I did. I think I'm going to release it this year. And the reason why is because it shows ODB in it. It has Method Man in it. And when you look back on it, it really looks beautiful to see all of us together like that. So I'm going to put that out and give it to the fans, which I thought I would never do it because I was embarrassed about the film. But now that people know I can make a real movie, I think I could put that movie out. I think hip-hop now belongs to the world. It's a culture of the world. This generation is a hip-hop generation, whereas the last generation could have been a soul or R&B or a rock generation. Hip-hop has now become the voice of the world. When you see people around the world, whether they're struggling in Serbia or right now they're struggling in Syria, they were struggling in Egypt not so long ago. People are protesting all around the world, and there's young people, and they got a voice, and hip-hop to me is the soundtrack of that. And so I think it belongs to the world. And that's something big for me to say because I was very selfish about it. You know what I mean? I'm glad that the world actually accept hip-hop. You see a movie like The Great Gatsby, which is based in the 50s, and yet you hear Jay-Z rhyming, or you watch Django and you see, which is based in the slave days, and you see Rick Ross rapping, or you watch Iron Fist, which is somewhere in China, based in the old days, and you hear Kanye West rapping on the screen. This shows you that hip hop has become part of our culture and part of our voice, and it belongs to the world. My message to the youth is this: you should obtain the 12 jewels of life no matter what. And the 12 jewels of life are knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothing, shelter. And after that, love, peace, and happiness. Peace. Montreality.
I don't even kill insects no more, yo. Cause they got life, man. That's life. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers be forgetting. It's like you get so deep sometimes. It's like, yo, man, you in space right now. You forgetting that you motherfucking in space. We don't gotta look up there to look up at space. Motherfucker, you in space. Gravitation is just holding you down right now.